Folks, it was July 7th, 2019, when the United States and the Netherlands faced off in the 2019 Women's World Cup final in Leon, and 1,000 miles on the other side of the world. And a little bit later than usual, that is 4 years and 19 or 20 days later, they are back facing off in the 2023 Women's World Cup, this time in Wellington, New Zealand, and this time in the group stage. Hello, everyone. I'm Mahir Hassan, and thanks for tuning in for what should be a great one here from Wellington Regional Stadium, of the second match for both these two teams. And since both of them won their first matchup, the United States 3-0 over Vietnam, Netherlands 1-0 over Portugal, a win today would mean they would clinch a spot in the knockout stages. Let me go get my fan real quick, turn that off, and away we go. Again, you got Sharia Spitza on one side, and then Lindsay Horan on the other. Horan and Morgan have been sharing the captain duties this year. Horan will be in the center circle as we see all Asians crew today, led by referee Yoshimi Yamashita. Again, a lot of chances going forward. And I'm doing well on this Wednesday evening here in Phoenix. It is hot, but it surely is supposed to be a good one today. With that, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting off with the United States, who make 0 changes for their match against Vietnam. As you've got Alyssa Nair in goal, they'll be lining up in a 4-3-3 today, as we'll have Crystal Dunn, Naomi Girma, Julie Ertz, and Emily Fox in the back, going from left to right. In the midfield, left to right, will be Lindsay Horan, Andy Sullivan, and Savannah DeMello. And then up top will be Sophia Smith, who bagged a brace against Vietnam on Friday night here in the United States. Also joining her will be Alex Morgan and Trinity Rodman. For Netherlands, they have one change today, as Lynette Berenstein suffered an ankle injury against Portugal. So Katja Snoejes will be up top with Lika Martens. For the rest of that lineup, you got Daphne van Domselaar in goal and lining up in a 3-1-4-2. We talked about the two up front, 3 in the back being Dominique Janssen, Stephanie van der Gracht, and Sharita Spitza, Jackie Gruden as your holding midfielder. The rest of the midfielders include Esme Brooks on the left, Danielle Van de Donk and Jill Roord in the middle, and Victoria Pelova on the right-hand side. Beautiful day, a beautiful scene, and chance to really show up here, really show up in general. United States, number 1 in the world, Netherlands, number 9. Everybody in the circle, and we are underway here from Wellington Regional Stadium. Netherlands in the all-orange kits, going from right to left. United States in the white tops, blue shorts, and white socks, going from left to right. Long ball sent forward, easily collected by Alyssa Nair, as the United States try to go forward. Again, they did not have to wait long for their first goal. It came within the first 15 minutes against Vietnam on a Saturday afternoon for them. Again, also for United States fans, of course, pretty good day. It's 6 o'clock here on the West Coast. It's going to be 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Again, pretty favorable timing to watch it. That's not going to be the case after this match, though, their match against Portugal, because it is based off the simultaneous matches. That is, when the United States is playing Portugal, Netherlands will be playing Vietnam. That's based off Australia and New Zealand time. In other words, that match will be at midnight on the West Coast. That's 3 a.m. Eastern. So not so favorable for people watching, but nonetheless, if you want to stay up, go ahead. Meanwhile, here's Emily Fox hurtling forward. She goes down, no foul. Taken back by Horan. And now circled back towards Julie Ertz. She'll see this all the way back towards Alyssa Nair in goal. A little misstep by Trinity Rodman. This one's sit forward, and Jensen will give it right back. A little bit of boom ball here as we're about 90 seconds in. And not the best, usually, I would say, from what it seems like. Again, Netherlands with an interesting win over Portugal. They're going into this Women's World Cup with a little bit of troubles on the offensive side. Viviane Miedema, who is quite an offensive asset for them in the Euro 2022 and at the Women's World Cup in 2019, she is out. She tore ACL playing for Arsenal back in April. Now here's a chance the other way. Sophia Smith in some space. She's looking for options. She keeps the ball, plays it out towards Rodman, edge of the box, and that one's nicked away by Jansen. So a collection there. And Stephanie van der Gracht will send it forward for the Dutch. She scored the goal for them against Portugal. Sole goal for them as they ended out with a 1-0 victory. Here comes the U.S. the other way. Morgan on the left. Cross in, deflected a little bit, and tracking back is Grunen to clear it away for the Netherlands. Morgan once again back on the left, and she'll play this back towards Dunn. Back towards midfield. Andy Sullivan. Now Dunn again. Dunn into the box. A little too high there for Haran, was on the back post. Tries to give some chase, but it's seen out there by Esme Brooks for a goal kick. Taking a look at the head coaches, Vlatko Andonovski has been the head coach of this team since around November of 2019, taking over for Jill Ellis, who led the squad to 2015 and 2019 Women's World Cup trophies. But the one thing that's been lacking has been an Olympic gold medal. They have not gotten that since 2012. The United States becoming, or trying to become, I should say, one of the few teams. I mean, they won rather, I should say, it's one of the teams becoming the gold medalist and Women's World Cup at around the same time. We haven't seen that happen in a while, if ever, really. Chance here for the Dutch. That's seen out. Cleared forward by Ertz, deflected out. Goal kick. But again, a good crowd on tap here from Wellington Regional Stadium. Had a lot of great games. They host 4 sports, or rather, they have hosted Aussie rules football, cricket, soccer, and then also rugby. Rugby pretty quite popular down under. Brooks called for the foul there as Fox was trying to get past her. So that kind of same kind of momentum. Out towards Dunn at midfield. Cut back. Here's Naomi Girma. She's getting some pressure automatically. I believe that's the new striker in Snoijus. And split out for a Dutch throw-in. So throw-in now for Brooks as we approach 5 minutes, the 6th minute of play. Again, at around the 7th minute, if we do or do not get a score from Netherlands, I will be talking at some point about what I saw on their Wikipedia page earlier today, because that was certainly interesting. Nonetheless, a chance here. Morgan, or rather Smith, hurtling forward. Savannah DeMello just has to leave it off. Back towards Crystal Dunn. Dunn now the edge of the box, trying to play through. It's slid through, and it's just collected by Van Domselaar. Chances from both sides of the Netherlands, maybe 2 players that could have stuck out a foot to clear it. And Alex Morgan, where the ball just fell to her, I don't think she was expecting it, kind of whiffed on the ball and couldn't slide it past the Netherlands goalkeeper. Closest chance we've had today to a goal. Back out to Fox on the right. DeMello, Morgan checking back. She's pushed from behind. Free kick to the U.S. So back with Haran. Long ball sent forward out towards Dunn. A little too far, and it's back towards the Dutch. Throwing again. Back on the right and given right back towards the U.S., but Morgan couldn't keep it on the end line, or rather the touch line. Alex Morgan being a lot more active so far compared to what we saw her. She did have the assist to Sophia Smith's first goal against Vietnam. Great ball, by the way. I mean, you talk about Alex Morgan's idea in the box of being a number 9, but one of her best qualities has been the ability to check in and check out of situations. And playing a little back, almost as a false nine, helped her in that situation on Friday night here in the United States, Saturday in New Zealand, where the United States will be playing their group stage matches out towards Janssen, back in the backfield, I should say. Out of Spitze. She's been playing midfielder. She's gotten so many goals, but she's going to be playing as a right center back today. Just how the tides turn. Nonetheless, ball played through, and Ertz will knock it away before anything dangerous can happen. Dangerous collision there between Morgan and Van der Gracht, and Horain with a chance to break. Chance to ball play through for Rodman. She'll get a cross on it. Not enough power to get towards Morgan as that's cleared away. Throw in now for the US. So, eighth minute of play. There's nil-nil between the United States and Netherlands. I was checking Netherlands Wikipedia page to do some research on this match, and I found something interesting. Uh, I don't know who came up with it, but Netherlands apparently won the match 2-0 according to the Wikipedia page. And Lika Martins had a brace. The first was in the 7th minute, the second was in the 76th minute. Again, I don't know who came up with this. Again, there's always some crazy people on Wikipedia here and there, but again, you never know what can happen. Again, 9th minute. Thanks for tuning in. Still nil-nil between the Americans and the Dutch. Lindsay Horan with some space to break out towards DeMello in the center. She'll send it out right for Rodman, or rather Sophia Smith. She's cutting inside, trying to play through. The shot just goes wide. Run. Savannah DeMello inserting herself into the box, and that just slides wide. Sophia Smith, too, with a great through ball forward, and couldn't tell the number who was there. Might have been Morgan. Might have been, I think, Morgan. But nonetheless, what a chance. What a chance. The United States wasting no time trying to break here. Van Domselaar almost lost the ball, but she's able to get it out on the wing towards Brooks, and that's cleared away. All United States so far. Lots and lots of chances. So forget what I said about the conspiracy theory. The United States is not just trying to prove them wrong, they're trying to smash that idea. Not too. Pressure galore from the United States. Still skipping up. United States trying to call for a handball. Ball goes out, and the red, white, and blue keep it. Out to Sophia Smith on, or rather, that's Sophia Smith. There's a mixture between Sophia Smith and Trinity Rodman. Again, sometimes they list Smith on the right, Rodman on the left. We saw them interchange wings a lot on this past Saturday. Fox plays it to Rodman, who's on the right here. Her cross go to the other side of the pitch towards Smith, who's on the left. Couldn't control it off the first touch. And with that, Iran almost got a chance back, and now it's back towards the back line with Spitzer. And now with Joe Roord. Van der Gracht plays it back towards Van Domselaar. Morgan keeps up her pressure, but this time no pressure that much for Domselaar to get it out towards the left. Roord clipped out to the right. Chance here for Netherlands. Out towards Victoria Pelova. Pelova now plays it through, and Naomi Girma will see this out. Goal kick. So 12th minute, no goals between the United States and Netherlands. We take a look at Andries Jonker, who took over this Dutch side a little while ago. Again, very similar to Vlatko. Wasn't around in 2019. Jonker wasn't around in 2022. He was replacing Mark Parsons, who was the head coach for the Dutch side in the 2022 Women's Euro. It turned out to be a disappointment for the Dutch after the great successes they had at the Women's World Cup, as Morgan plays it through to Rodman on the right. Rodman clips it towards the outside of the box again. DeMello, now to Horan, out towards Crystal Dunn. Dunn deflected into the box, and Van Domselaar will collect. Not sure if Dunn was trying to pip it up forward for Horan, who, despite being listed as a midfielder, has played almost as a forward in some points of this year, or rather of this tournament. On the other side, it does seem pretty interesting. nonetheless. Chances galore. To some extent, kind of sort of to some extent, reminder of the 2019 Women's World Cup final, where despite the scoreline being 2-0, United States held majority of the chances in that match. And then they ended up getting the breakthrough in the 60th, 61st minute with the Megan Rapinoe penalty kick going past Van Domselaar. And then they got the insurance about 15 minutes after with Rose Lavelle capping it up. Both of those two players are on the bench to start off today. Again, not something that I would like with Blatko, but sure could be interesting. Out towards Pilova on the right, there is a Dutch player down. Spitza, Roord lost the ball. Play continues now as we see the injured Dutch player. And now it will be played back towards base. The Orange are calling for a stoppage in play, but it looks like the injured player, Lika Martens, able to get up on the pitch. So 14th minute, and again, as I mentioned, Netherlands without one of their star strikers, Lynette Berenstein. She suffered an ankle injury in the match against Portugal. And with that, we have Katja Snoijus coming into play, striker as well, or rather in her place. How about that too? Savannah DeMello made her first appearance in the match against Vietnam. Since then, it's been quite interesting, to say the least, quite interesting on how things have worked. The USA chants going pretty strong. Again, they were in full force in Paris in 2019. Almost every match they played, except against host country France, was almost a home game for them. Maybe not against Netherlands and England in the final, since both of those two countries closer, but nonetheless, home field advantage for the Stars and Stripes wherever they go. Long ball, a little too long there to find Haran. Andy Sullivan's been responsible for those services throughout the day. And also on Saturday. The United States, after this, will play Portugal in their group stage match, which will be on Tuesday. The Netherlands will play Vietnam. Because it is the final match day of group stage, it will be simulcast. So, in other words, they will take place at the same time, US and Portugal against Netherlands and Vietnam. Will also be kind of later early, depending on where you live. If you're on the East Coast, that will be at 3 a.m. in the morning. If you're on the West Coast, that will be at midnight. And if you're in Central or Mountain Time, you decide if you're going to stay up late or get up early to watch that match. Collision there, as it looked like DeMello was the one? One of the two. DeMello and Sullivan. Played out. There's Rodman. Rodman tried to play through for an overlapping Fox. Handball, please, will not be given. Brooks on the left, dancing around, and again, the United States pressure. They're almost playing airtight on the ball, the United States. Wherever they go, rather, wherever Netherlands goes, they're able to follow. Pipped out towards the right, back towards Spitza. Maybe a chance here for the Dutch. Playing through. Could this be the breakthrough? In the area, cleared away. Again, chances galore. Shot in, and it's in the net. Goal for Netherlands. Roord breaking the deadlock here in the 17th minute. Maybe the conspiracy theory is true, folks. It didn't happen the 7th minute, but it happened in the 17th. And after being on the back foot throughout this entire match, the Dutch are up 1-0 on the United States. Holy smokes. Let's take a look at the buildup. Again, I was distracted with other things, but let's take a look at this. Ball played through. I think I was out with Polova on the right, cleared in, cleared away. Not the best clearance there. Couldn't tell who was the one that cleared it. I think it was Crystal Dunn. Not the best clearance. Sophia Smith could not get a touch, and Melissa Mayer just left in no woman's land. Tough play. Tough play overall for this side. So back with you guys on YouTube and Instagram. Holy smokes. Let's put it that way. Holy smokes. A difference. Meanwhile, shot the other way. Umpire has to make a save. When the Telemundo broadcast came back, the United States are back at it. Let's take a look at this build up now. So Berenstein gives it back, and Rodman from about 25 yards out try to paint the corner on the Netherlands goalkeeper. Unable to do so, but the Stars and Stripes down here early. Andy Sullivan from the right corner flag to whip it in. High in the air, Haran heads it down, Van Domselaar collects. By the way, I checked on TikTok. I've seen what some of you have been saying about Wikipedia. Here's the thing. I know that Wikipedia exists in the way it does. I know. It's very true. It's very valid. At the same time, you can't help but think there's something going on with this, right? There's something going on. Netherlands is already up 1-0. And not to mention this other thing that actually validates their claim here. The last two times we have seen a rematch of a Women's World Cup final in the following edition, the two teams that lost got their revenge. This is the first time, though, that we're seeing such rematch in the group stage. It's an interesting factoid for you. If you're wondering, it was the 1995 Women's World Cup semifinal. By the way, ball played through, and not the best chance there. So back to what I was saying, 1995 was a Women's World Cup semifinal between the United States and Norway. They met up in the final previously. United States won that. In the matchup in 1995, Norway got their revenge, beating the United States 1-0. The other matchup was in 2015, where the United States faced Japan. Now, technically speaking, the United States did not lose to Japan since the match was decided on penalties. However, Japan was able to get the trophy. The United States did not get it. So that begs the question on where do we see this playing out? Where do we see it playing out? Where does it go forward? You never know. Maybe that person on Wikipedia was right. 20th minute, 1-0 in favor of the Dutch, and it's Jill Roord to break the deadlock. And with that, Jill Roord now becomes the third player for the Dutch to score in two Women's World Cups, scored in 2019. I think it was in their opening match in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. There's DeMello, now towards Dunn. Now to Morgan. What can the United States do to respond? Long ball towards Smith will be out towards Van Domselaar. Van Domselaar, I should say. Clears it back towards the United States with Dunn. Long ball, back towards Smith. Good first touch to just bring it down, too. Smith trying to play towards Rodman, and a flick there. Couldn't tell by who. It might have been, it was by Blux. Blux will lay it out. Corner kick for the U.S. They got Andy Sullivan. Again, one of the players that was not in the squad in 2019, one of the six players. It was almost a good split, a healthy split, if you will. Five that was on the squad in 2019, six were not, and they're making their debut. Rather, they were making their debut. Now they're in their second match. Sullivan from the right-hand side whips it into the box, headed up by Morgan, back post, headed up again by Ertz, but she ran out of real estate to send it back towards goal. So with that, it's another goal kick. Again, I'd have to check when was the last time the United States trailed in a Women's World Cup match where they were able to come back and gain a point. Nonetheless, chance again, Sophia Smith with a rough touch this time as she received the ball. And it's out towards a goal for a goal kick. look at the most recent matches for the United States. You haven't seen that in a while, I think. Only time they allowed a goal this year was against Brazil, and that too was a consolation goal. Meanwhile, Haran, that one's knocked away and eventually cleared back towards the U.S. defense as Naomi Girma heads it out. Rather, it's still in play, and now it is out. Crystal Dunn couldn't keep it in play for a Netherlands throw in. Here's Roord, the goal scorer. About halfway through the first half, Netherlands up 1-0 on the United States. I'm Hirson Hassan. Thanks for tuning in on what is a Wednesday evening for me going into the night. If you're on the East Coast, it is Wednesday night. And the United States find themselves down to the Dutch. This one whipped into the box. That one's headed away by Dunn. Back to Pelova on the right, lifted back in again. And it's seen out there by Fox. Lika Martins. On my conspiracy theory, as I was talking earlier, you had Lika Martins scoring in the 7th minute. Now, she did not score. She hasn't scored in the 7th minute, hasn't scored in general. But in terms of what this conspiracy theorist, aka the person on Wikipedia, has put out, they did say that Netherlands would score one in the first half and one in the second half. They have scored once in the first, courtesy of Jill Roord in the 17th minute. Girma strangled there by Katja Snoijus. And that's a free kick. Gotta love the fans. Gotta love the attendance here. I might do a recap of the group stage. I know I did that for the Men's World Cup in December. Meanwhile, Morgan taken down, no foul called as Grunen plays out towards Pelova on the right. She'll go back towards Spitza, the captain. 213 caps, most in Orange women's history. To the back line we go. Stephanie van der Gracht. Now back towards Spitza. Back in the back line to van der Gracht. Clipped out towards Bruce. Heads it down. Headed back again and back towards Ertz. Fox. Again, Fox has been scrambled there. That's good play overall by Andries Jonker's side. And Jonker talked about this in an interview before the match where he said this was going to be one game where it was end-to-end action from the first minute to the 90th minute. And whichever team wanted it more was the one that was going to come out with the victory. So far, his team leading the strength, leading the charge here, up 1-0 against the United States. The team that beat them in the Women's World Cup final, the greatest game, or rather the biggest game in program history. Dunn, picked off there by Spitza. Dunn able to get it back. Out on the left here for Smith. Able to collect at the edge of the box, clipped into the box, trying to find Morgan. And no call for handball there. Van der Gracht and crew able to cut away as Van der Donk goes down. No foul called, so it will stay with the United States. Let's take a look at this goal. Again, a powerful shot. Not to mention, Jill Roord had maybe 4 players from the United States that were around her, able to fire the shot with such accuracy to not just get it past those 4, but get it past goalkeeper Alyssa Nair. Clinical finish for a clinical team. And now the Stars and Stripes find themselves down. Again, as I mentioned, they have not been down this entire year, which is crazy to think. I mean, you would think that this team would be tested enough, but no. Now, they did face Germany in a friendly back in November 13th, where Brandt scored first for the Germans, and then Sophia Smith and Mal Swanson scored in the second half to give the United States the come from behind victory. So that could possibly happen. We've also had the other match against Germany, November 10th, where Germany scored first, and then Megan Rapinoe got an equalizer, and only for Germany to get the game winner 4 minutes later. Long ball sent forward, couldn't find Sophia Smith as it's tracked down there by Pelova. Spitzer back towards Van der Gracht. Back line we go as the Dutch try to retain some possession. They've done so in the last 10 minutes, 55% of it going in their favor. You can tell the momentum has just shifted ever since that goal. I mean, talk about any sport really being a sign of momentum. And we've definitely seen it for the Dutch today. And it felt like they were absolutely nowhere near this game. The United States had all the chances, fervent chances as well. And all of a sudden, the Dutch are able to snatch the American energy out and piddle it in a box and throw it in the trash can. Gourde out towards Pilova. She'll settle for now. Looking for options. Now hurtling at the edge of the box, or corner of the box. Chance here. Ball sent into the box. Brooks overran it. Rebound back in, and it just goes into the top netting over it. Dominic Janssen, about 20 yards out, just sends it high. Let's take a look at this. Again, it's just a matter of not marking your person. This time it was Trinity Rodman with a poor clearance, and on the other side, Janssen just sends it over. Again, Janssen started in the 2019 Women's World Cup final. Her husband at the time, now ex-husband, used to play college soccer in the United States. As you may remember last year, or rather last edition, her last name was Bloodworth, and then went back to her maiden name of Janssen for this Women's World Cup. And you can tell there's a different energy. And again, if you watch the United States more than the Women's World Cup, again, they had a stretch, three games, in fact, two and one against England at Wembley, where they lost 2-1, and then they lost 2-0 in Spain against the Spaniards, La Roja. Then they lost at home against Germany. You can tell that there's a different switch in the United States from what we've seen between playing and dominating and playing against some of these top teams that they face. Now, granted, they have played against top teams. They beat Japan, they beat Canada, they beat Brazil, all in the She Believes Cup earlier this year. Resounding victory for them in what has been quite a competitive tournament over the years. But it does make for an interesting predicament. On the left for Brooks. Brooks chested down, cuts back, and now clipping it forward into some space for Van de Donk. She's in the box now, trying to lay it off, not the best. Now towards Jill Roord. She's got the first goal today. Jensen crossed over towards Pelova. Her first time cross, caught by Nair. With that, the United States on the counter. Sophia Smith trying to go forward. Numbers coming back for the Dutch. Rodman also trying to make a run. Sophia Smith still going. She's at the edge of the box, leaves it off towards Morgan. She goes down, and there's not even one inkling from the ref to call a foul. Very interesting there, as the United States, once again, 30 minutes in, down 1-0 against the Netherlands. First time this year they find themselves down in a match. Jackie Grunin called for the foul on Savannah DeMello. Been an end-to-end kind of day for the United States, but have just been unable to turn in a goal. And ever since Jill Roord's goal for the Netherlands in the 17th minute, have been unable to find much momentum in their favor, save for some counterattacks here and there. A 31st minute, nonetheless. So another chance, Andy Sullivan to take the free kick. And now the ref makes sure everybody's sorted out. Or rather, I should say, Sullivan, indeed. She'll lay it off towards Naomi Girma. Girma setting into the box, back post, headed up by Morgan, and she couldn't get it off target. Lika Martens, who's playing forward today, was also in the area, heading it out, and the defense works again for the Dutch. Gilliards presses the ball down in the corner, now out towards Sullivan, who walks towards the corner flag. She'll be taking the corner kick there. The United States still down 1-0. In need of getting something there. I mean, it's hard to classify it because, contrary to maybe some of the matches they played in the Olympics recently, they've had some command. Sullivan plays it in, flicked on by Haran. Ertz tries to flick it on once more. Morgan heads it forward, and now it's cleared away by Spitza. Brought down by Pelova. Pelova able to get away from some traffic. Now, can she get a counterattack going? A lot of numbers back for the United States as the ball will be flicked on. Grunen, who's on the right, plays it out, plays it back. Van der Gracht, back again. Back with Van der Gracht. Janssen from the back line, pips it towards midfield, headed back by Ertz. And so the battle for moonball possession goes in favor of Netherlands. Grunen, she'll play the long ball forward, and Girma will play it back towards Ertz, who's on the same line. And back towards Nair it goes. 34th minute of play. There's Julie Ertz again. She played a holding midfielder role a lot in the 2019 course. I would think maybe Vlatko would try to utilize her the same way should the United States be down later, especially at half potentially, just in case she wants to add a little bit more pace, if you will. You've got Rose Lavelle on the bench. You've got Megan Rapinoe on the bench. Could be some possible changes should the United States keep this deficit, or rather, be unable to erase the deficit going into half. Out towards Haran, going against Ruard on the left flank. Left off towards Morgan, who's kind of been isolated, save for sometimes on set pieces. Nonetheless, here she is again, edge of the box. Morgan dribbling through inside the box, right towards Rodman, and that's cleared away. Back towards Morgan now. End line, cut out there by Spitza, and it's back again for a United States corner kick. Again, cut out there. I believe that might have been Jansen. Couldn't get the best look on that. But nonetheless, 35th minute, and the United States continue to knock on the door here. Corner kick, 35th minute. Sullivan swings it in, headed off and headed off target. Julie Ertz found some space to break away from her defender and couldn't get the flick on towards either one of her teammates nor on goal. How about that, too? Julie Ertz, just a weapon in the midfield, weapon when it comes to set pieces as well. Jill Ellis was really tactical of that in 2019, and Vlatko doing the same now. Back towards Sullivan from the left corner flag. Take two, swung in, header! This time it goes wide. Higher up in the air this time by Lindsay Horan. And the native of Colorado couldn't steer it on frame once again. That's kind of been the story of the day for the United States. They've got the chances, but it's either been snatched slash saved from Daphne van Domselaar, the Dutch goalkeeper, or it's been put out for a goal kick. Meanwhile, Stephanie van der Gracht has been playing the center back role for the Dutch today. She's going to be injured. Rather, she's got her hands on her knees. Not much to say here. Again, thanks for tuning in. Got a few live reacts in this match day two. Not as much as match day one, but I'm looking to do Friday morning. It's going to be 1:30 in the morning in Phoenix time. So 4:30 Eastern. England against Denmark, the top two teams in that respective group. Group D, if I'm not mistaken. That should be an interesting one. France, Brazil. Boy, they had some interesting matchups. They'll be facing off in the group stage on Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Pacific, where I am. So Van der Gracht will get some treatment on the end line. Let's see what the United States can do here. Van der Gracht and the Dutch down a center back here. Looks like Van der Gracht is okay. She gets some treatment. Looks like for the most part, just getting some water. She's able to stretch out, able to get the most mobility in that area. Back with Van Domselaar, and she kicks this back into play. 37th minute. She's done. Ushered there by, I think it was Van de Donk. Belova. Roerd. Back it goes, pipped up. Back with Grunen. She lost it there. And DeMello, oh, what a turn. Fakes out two Dutch players, and now she passes it to the right for Fox. Rodman now. Back it goes towards Ertz. In my opinion, the United States need to maintain possession, but this is also a chance where you've got more momentum in your favor. You've got to use it to get a goal. Sophia Smith now on the left, crossed in, punched away by Van Domselaar, cleared out to the side by Grunen, and Van de Donk now with control gets out towards Martins. Bruce now receives the through ball. And it's back towards Janssen. So after a fiery first 15, 20 minutes or so that led to our first goal of the match, it's been quite calm since then. Van Domselaar in goal, tipped forward, and out for a United States throw-in. Possession in general, by the way, 42% for the US, 58% for Netherlands. In it goes, the cross, only as far as DeMello. She lost the ball. Grunen able to get control, and because she was strangled there, it will be a free kick for La Orange. Again, crazy game in general when you think about it. Trying to pull up the stats. You look at it, 8 shots, 2 of them on goal for the United States, only 2 for the Dutch, and 1. But that 1 shot on goal was by Joe Roord, and it causes the Dutch to be up 1-0. Melo brought down there. That's going to be a free kick. Played almost immediately, and Emily Fox on the right plays it back in. That's cleared before Alex Morgan could get anything on it. 40th minute, about 6 minutes plus stoppage time. That's first half stoppage time. Left before the first half whistle blows. Back with Van de Donk. Played on the right. Some space for Pelova, potentially. Lost the ball there. Spitzer. Martins lays it off towards Snoijes. Back with Grunen. Back in the Dutch half. Van der Gracht turns back towards goal. More possession in favor, more chances, more momentum. That's what it seems like for the Dutch. They pick the right moment, the right opportunity, and they find themselves in the right place. Roord, the long ball send, not the best one, as Pelova has to track back and get it. Goes back with Spitzer. And Spitzer, again, as I mentioned, 213 caps, 43 goals. That's actually 4th overall on the Dutch scoring list, despite playing in the center back role, right center back. So a chance for some mobility, but not a lot of it. Pelova. Grunen. Janssen. Janssen in some space. Now with Brooks. Roord. Grunen. Back with the back line. Van der Gracht receiving the pass from Spitzer. Janssen. United States trying to get some pressure, but Janssen brings it back towards the Americans' side of the pitch. Or sends it back, tries to play up towards, it's hard to tell who. I think it was Smith. And Spitzer. Again, if the score stands the way it does, the first 20 minutes were in favor of the United States. Let's be honest. There were a lot of great chances that could have led to a goal. It just never happened. And that's how it is. I think it's the ability to respond here at the US. That's what's going to decide whether or not they get a result out of this, whether they come back and win. I mean, they've done it. As I mentioned earlier, they did it against Germany in November, but other times they haven't. Out towards Pelova. Spitzer. He's going to keep drilling. Pipped up. Now towards Dunn. With Andy Sullivan. What is the 43rd minute? And YouTube has been a solid crowd today. Better on Instagram. As I'm live there on, you can find the at MJ Sinhasan. Same feed as you're seeing up here on YouTube, but this is over here, that's over there. Picked up, chest down, back with Van de Graack, and I think the United States has been calling now for a while of a handball on Van de Graack. They didn't get it. They will get a throw in here. There's about 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time remaining in the first. Done. Check in with Smith. A nifty turn, find some space. Shot taken. Out with Rodman now. Journey Rodman crossed in, cleared up by Brooks. Went as far as Haran, brought down by Morgan at the edge, and now cleared. Now once again, sky high the ball goes. What is a daytime, midday game? At 1 o'clock in New Zealand, Wellington, New Zealand, where this match is being played. Out with Dunn. Girma. She has to cut back and gives it back towards Alyssa Nair. Alyssa Nair won't get a shutout today. Again, averaging shutouts pretty well, actually. About maybe, I think, 0.6 shutouts per game, believe it or not, which is really good overall. One of the best in U.S. goalkeeper history. Meanwhile, DeMello was taken down. That's going to be a free kick for the U.S. Again, the U.S. trying to get some momentum before half. It's score-wise, it has not been in their favor. About a minute left plus stoppage time. Skirma. Out with Smith on the left. Lost it right back. Palova. Now it's Spitza. Grunen. Now goes Spitza. Out with Brooks on the left. Jansen. Left flank. Brooks scored the game winner that sent Netherlands to the Women's World Cup. Great victory late in the match, too, in stoppage time. Grunen. Spitza. Now with Belova. Just dribbling away. Dunn was close to her. Van de Donk checks in. Or pardon me, that was Martins. Jensen back towards Van de Graack. 3 minutes of stoppage time from Wellington. Pelova. And now with Roerd. Back with Roerd. In her own half. Back with the United States half. Close to the attacking third. Chance with Martins now. Listed as a striker, but she's playing a little bit back here. Chance. Pelova potentially. She's wrestled off the ball by DeMello. And the U.S. with a chance to break potentially. Haran was going to try to get a look up in long ball. Instead, to play towards Ertz. And Ertz will play back towards goal. Girma. Crystal Dunn. Back with Sophia Smith. Smith scored 2 goals, mainly based off getting in the area, getting center on the ball. Now a chance. Smith now, speaking of which, into the box, wrestled and taken down there. Smith able to wrestle the ball away too. So it won't be a foul necessarily. Roerd, taken down by Dunn, free kick. And again, Yoshimi Yamashita hasn't been calling too many fouls and, again, not too many arguments. Granted, United States have wanted a handball on the Dutch a few times, and Yamashita has made her decisions clear, not even making a recognition on whether or not it's a handball. She continues to play as it is. DeMelo held there, and right to my point, the United States is not going to get that foul. Oops, deflected. Back with the Netherlands, and now we'll see a stoppage in play to check on the injured Dutch, and it's going to be Jackie Grunen, who took a hit to the nose as she's grabbing that part right now. Looked like it might have been DeMello reaching out, nothing egregious, but it was enough for Grunen to fall to the ground. Approaching 3 minutes. Final chance for both sides potentially before the whistle blows. Another challenge, and sounds Vanderdonk. Yamashita this time runs over towards DeMello and tells her to get away. Second consecutive time we've seen a foul going, or rather listed with DeMello. Not much, many chances, but again, wrong place, the wrong time. That's what it feels like for the U.S. right now, in terms of the goals, in terms of the fouls, in terms of momentum. Man, just DeMello's trying to argue with Yamashita and trying to make sure everything's okay. And chance with Spitza. Spitza, long ball sent forward. It's headed back towards goal by an American, but Nair is able to collect. Approaching 4 minutes. Now it is 4 minutes of stoppage time. Back with Haran. Playing out towards Smith. Cut away there by Spitza. Smith again. Dribbling, dazzling her way through. Now back with Dunn. And with that, the first half has come to an end here at Wellington Regional Stadium. It's the Dutch up 1-0 against the Americans. The goal coming from Jill Roord in the 17th minute. Again, a lot of chances on both sides, including Roord with 21 goals. That now ties her at the ninth overall for most goals by a Dutch player for the country. Now tied with her former teammate, Shanice van de Sanden. I'll take a quick break and I'll be back for the second half right here from my bedroom in Phoenix, talking about what's happening in the Women's World Cup. Stay tuned because it's sure to be a great second half. Second half about to begin from Wellington Regional Stadium between the United States and Netherlands. It's the Dutch up 1-0 against the two-time defending champs. We'll see a couple of changes being made, starting off with Roosevelt coming in for Savannah DeMello. And on the other side, for the Dutch, we will be having number 4. I'm going to try to bring this up. Will be number 4, Aniek Nuven. Nuven will come in. Again, Roosevelt, a woman that doesn't need any introduction when it comes to this type of matchup. She scored the insurance goal when these two played in the final. You have on the other side Aniek Nuwen, the Chelsea lady, making her 42nd appearance. Back underway, 45 down, 45 to go from Wellington. Can the Dutch hold on and get revenge against the United States? Or do the Americans have a chance to get a result? A reminder that since both of these teams won their first match, the winner, if we do have a winner in this one, will go on to the knockouts, meaning that third place match does not matter other than the fact of maybe getting that first place spot. So again, Roosevelt checking in, Aniek Nuwen checking in for the Dutch. Did not play in the first match, so this is her first appearance of this 2023 Women's World Cup. And she will be replacing Stephanie van der Gracht, who had some trouble earlier on. Might be a big hit to Netherlands' defense. Nonetheless, the United States are back, and here's Haran. Out towards Crystal Dunn on the left-hand side. Crystal Dunn trying to pip through, and a missed clearance there, if you will, by the Dutch. Back with Danielle van der Donk. And Spitzer sends it forward. Back with Lika Martens. Again, I talked about this earlier. I posted a TikTok about it earlier today about there was someone on Wikipedia before the match, on Netherlands' site, that said that the Dutch are going to win 2-0. Not only that, they also had the attendance was like 22,000. From what I've seen inside the 33,000 plus seat stadium, it does look a little bit more than 22,000. And you also have Lika Martens scoring twice, once in the 7th minute, once in the 76th. Now, Martens did not score in the first half, but the Dutch are up 1-0 courtesy of Jill Roord in the 17th minute. So, again, pretty solid. Again, you can never trust what you see in Wikipedia, but at the same time, the guy might have a point. He may have a point. He or she, whoever put that to Netherlands Wikipedia page. Again, you can check it out. I mean, I checked it periodically, checked it about a couple hours before the match, checked it again about 15 minutes. Never changed. So that's very interesting, but it never changed. So back with the Dutch, here's Jill Roord, who scored the goal, as I mentioned before. So we're about 2.5 minutes into the second half. And the biggest thing that I saw out of the United States is after losing possession, after going down, more possession went towards the Dutch. Speaking of which, Martens into the box. That's cleared away by Naomi Girma. Katja Snoijus was in the box pretty wide open, too. Back with Roord. Out on the right-hand side, Victoria Pelova. Pelova will be turned back by Dunn and also Sophia Smith. Thanks for tuning in. 49th minute, and the Americans, two-time defending champs, are down. Jensen, rough first touch by Lika Martens, back towards Dominique Jensen. And back with Stephanie van der Gracht. Round and round the ball goes, more in favor of the Dutch, who lost to the United States 2-0 in the 2019 Women's World Cup final. It was Megan Rapinoe from the spot, and then Rose Lavelle with the insurance. Rapinoe is still on the bench. Lavelle checked in at halftime. And now all eyes are on Vlatko Andonovski of the United States to see what he can do to try to change that 0 to a 1 and potentially for the U.S. to come back and win. I talked about it earlier. They had a chance earlier, rather last year, to maybe block it out. It never happened. Rather, I should say it happened. It was November 13th against Germany, their final match of 2022. They were down 1-0 in the first half. It was the case going to halftime. And then they got Two goals late, at around the 52nd, 57th minute or so. Sophia Smith and Mal Swanson were doing the honors. Smith is in the roster today. Swanson injured herself before the tournament began back in April. So another key asset lost for the United States offense. And that was a key for both sides going into the match, that they had players on both sides, key players that were stars last year. For the United States, it was Becky Sauerbrunn, captain for a very long time, actually, between the two Women's World Cups, including the one you see right now, starting center back, more than 200 caps overall. She got down with an injury. She is not playing in this Women's World Cup. On the other side, Vivian Miedema is also not there. So here comes Rose Lavelle. She's taken down. Grunen able to cut out. Now Lavelle takes down Grunen, and now it's down to Yoshimi Yamashita. Now, nobody has gotten a yellow card today, and just as I say that, Rose Lavelle is the first one booked. Again, Lavelle from Cincinnati, Ohio, just like myself, yours truly. I went to Mount Notre Dame High School, which I know pretty well. GGCL action, nonetheless. United States and Trinity Rodman able to get the ball back. Rodman, double teamed, goes down as Grunen clears it back towards the United States. Ertz spinning, circling, hurdling, and she earns a free kick as she had looked like a might have been no, it was Snoiges on her back. Girma, Ertz, passes continues back with Grunen. Played up now with Ruud. Joe Ruud. Now out on the left. Going there for Esme Brooks. Out on the right. Pelova. Lost off Dunn. Maybe the United States can counter here. Lavelle trying to play through for looks like Smith. That's cleared out. Only as far as Haran. 35 yards out. Haran with some space. She plays it out now in the middle. Dancing on the ball. And that's lost. Again, Sophia Smith with not too many chances to really show herself the way she did against Vietnam. That ended out with 2 goals for the Fort Collins native. Today, she hasn't gotten much, as we're 52 minutes through this one, 38 minutes plus stoppage time left. And again, the U.S. have only lost one match in the group stage, and that was a 2-1 loss to Sweden back in 2011. Again, the United States and Sweden have had a rivalry of their own throughout the past few years. They've also shared a coach, Pia Sundhage. Morgan in the box, cross deflected. Janssen clears it out. Only as far as Haran, who came pressuring in. Now here's Fox, the right back, playing in the center, and Haran lost it again. The Dutch's defense remaining compact in these big moments. That's cleared out with Pelova. To the back line it goes. Janssen. Now back, and Van Domselaar clears it up. Out with Brooks again. Cleared up, and Pelova wide open on the right, but she will go with the walking pace. Collected, and now with back on the right-hand side. Spitzer got the best touch, is done. Just pips it up. Spitzer collects it and sees it out for a Dutch throw-in. Again, what is a pretty fervent atmosphere. You got U.S. and Netherlands, both teams well represented here. And they had about 55,000 on tap at Lyon Stadium for what was an interesting final between the two sides. Back out for another throw-in. Pipped up. Girma clears it out and set up for another Dutch throw-in close to the attacking third. Again, Gearman Ertz, when it comes to the play, they've had some good headers, but the best chances for the Dutch have come off of poor clearances. First off, Crystal Dunn that led to Joe Roard scoring in the 17th minute, and the other one, another great chance, coming off a Trinity Rodman poor clearance. Jensen, Van de Donk lost some potential. Now Ertz making a long run in. Morgan was wide there, and Jensen able to head it away. Clears it out towards the touchline, and again, the Dutch can breathe for a second. Throw in again for the United States, 55th minute. There's Emily Fox. Down the line, can't find Morgan. Morgan lost control, and then Brooks, who's known for being quite fervent on the left to go in the attack, playing well in the defense, too. Martin Splick goes out, throw in for the United States. That's kind of been the story. Ever since pretty cohesive possessions and maybe backline play, especially from Netherlands, no team has really been able to control the pace of the match for quite a long stretch. Even the Dutch, too, on their goal, that was a counterattack almost. You look at the passes completed, 311 for the Dutch, 157 for the Americans. Free kick for the U.S. Nifty move, Rose Lavelle. We know she's streaky and matters most. Trinity Rodman cleared out. And again, it's the new player, Aniek Nguyen, coming in for Stephanie van der Gracht, who scored against Portugal, ended up being the winner. Thrown to the box, headed away. Only as far as, I believe, Lavelle. There's Lavelle trying to use that speed. Or pardon me, that was Sullivan. Rodman, last touched off the Dutch, throwing. So back with the U.S. Emily Fox with the throw. Down into the box. There's Morgan. Nifty flick to Lavelle, and before anything could really happen, Spitze came in to clear it out. Corner kick to the Americans. How about that, too? A back heel by Morgan right towards Rose Lavelle. It's a great play. Something you see on the training ground, almost working in person. Sixth corner of the night, or rather for the day for them since they're in New Zealand. Sixth corner for the United States. Lavelle into the box, headed away by Janssen. All the way back. Irma a little too far. Seen out for a goal kick. This is the fourth match Wellington Regional Stadium is hosting. They've hosted quite a few interesting matchups. Spain beating Costa Rica by 3. Now, that was probably, despite Spain, a lot of people expecting La Roja to really dominate that match. 3-0. It's a solid scoreline, but it's not ideal for the Spaniards and a little bit surprising. But it's after that that is interesting on the ball. Again, sorry, this is more of a radio play-by-play. Nonetheless, time exists the same way as Palova. Given back by the U.S. Played through. Maybe chance here for Morgan on the left-hand side. She crosses it in a little too far. And again, despite the Americans having some space, and this time Trinity Rodman, the Dutch center backs keep on showing up. Now it's time for the injured player down, Lindsay Horan, in the 59th. Let's take a look at this. Collision between Horan and Van de Donk. No foul was called. Both of them got touches on the ball, but there's almost Van de Donk blocking Horan in that spot, and the Colorado native will get some treatment. Lying on her side, not the best situation to be in. So 60th minute, Blanco Andonovski right there in front of Haran to try to see this. There have been some games the United States have played. I think the one that calls my attention the most is their match against Sweden in the 2020 Olympics, so a couple of years ago, where they lost that game 3-0 to Sweden, but at the same time, the Swedish just seemed to have more momentum. I think more, not just momentum, but I think command of the game, where they were going, what they were doing, both from an offensive and a defensive perspective, right? And I think going into this match, we knew the United States had the advantage in the offense, right? No Miedema, no Berenstein for the Dutch. On the other side, though, they were able to use their other big qualities. You think about it in 2019, you had Miedema scoring at 3 goals, and then you had everybody else, about 8 players that scored others, another 8, I should say, 7 of which are in this Women's World Cup. The 60th minute, and again, another tussle in the middle. Haran and Rodman going at it with Van de Donk and another one is Snoy just going back defending. But the United States with a lot more of the ball, a lot more of the chances, and they turn one in. And now head referee Yoshimi Yamashita is still talking. Now she's brought over Van de Donk and Haran to go over procedures. Again, Van de Donk, we're number 10, one of the solid players in the midfield. Lindsey Haran, co-captain of the squad with Alex Morgan. Been that kind of day today for both sides. Chances of galore, but it ends out the way it is. Now Haran is getting a conversation with Yamashita. I can't really hear what it is. Either way, they're able to sort out what's going on. Van de Donk with smiles on her face. Haran, not much the same. Now it's time to focus. Rose Lavelle on the far side of the pitch. 62nd minute. 7th corner of the day for the United States. Lavelle into the box. Header, and it's in the net. No, USA. Lindsey Horan, 62nd minute. Just like that, ties it up. Chance after chance after chance. And now it's a tie game. Afterwards, Van de Donk not smiling anymore, but the Colorado native, Lindsey Horan, scored the 3rd goal against Vietnam. She's got her 2nd goal of this 2023 campaign. Just a great ball, great run, and a great header for a player that has gotten better and better on these set pieces and her potency in the box. So, to the person that put on Wikipedia that Netherlands is winning this 2-0, I'm sorry, buddy, but you're wrong. Now long ball goes forward and maybe a little bit more momentum going in favor of the United States. Let's see what transpires in the next 27 minutes plus stoppage time. Another chance, maybe. Sophia Smith going forward. Can't play it through towards Alex Morgan. That one was deflected, though, so it's out for a throw in. Done. Morgan tried to play through for Haran, couldn't get it right. Again, chances galore on both sides, and I credit what the US have done. Again, the, if you will, the little conspiracy theory that the person put on Wikipedia won't be fruitful, but it will be able to show up. It showed up overall, showed up there with Lindsey Horan. And credit on both sides for what they have been able to do. Back with Haran, lost again. United States with more life within them, trying to keep what is an unbeaten streak when it comes to playing match day twos at the Women's World Cup. 8 wins and a draw. That only draw was to Sweden back in 2015. Scoreless one, too. Ertz. Lavelle can play through towards Morgan. Close chance, though. Jackie Grunen back towards goal. Van Domselaar boots it forward. 65th minute. There's Palova. Able to fight off, pip it forward, knocked down by Girma. Dunn trying to spin off the ball. That should be a free kick as Martins took her down. And I think it will be. It's done with. That's a classy move there. Able to play it down, sprinkle it out, and go forward. Jensen back over on the end. Knocked out. Throw in now. So now the chance here again. Andries Jonker. I'll go back to what he said. This was going to be an end-to-end matchup, and it was based off the team who wanted it more. So now very similar to what we saw from the United States, where despite chances, despite the command, they've lost it, lost the scoreline, lost the deadlock, the clean sheet in that regards. The Dutch find themselves in the same category right now. 1-1 here in the 66th minute. Spitzer. Van de Donk. Spitzer again. Picked off, back with Lavelle. Lavelle able to stay on the left, somehow keeps it in play. Can't find Morgan. Back with Haran, who finds some spots. She's tripped up. No foul called. And meanwhile, with Haran tripping up Van de Donk, that's going to be a free kick. So the battles of the tens for each respective sides continue. There's Lavelle. Up towards Rodman. Shielded by Jansen. Rodman able to get past it. Maybe a chance here. Rodman playing through. Morgan! Outside. Good chance. Very good chance. It seems like. Now let's see what happened here. From the way they're celebrating, it looks like Morgan's offside, and indeed she is. Nonetheless, good chance. Good chance nonetheless, but I think even Alex Morgan knew it too. Not overtly celebrating upon finishing it. Americans are calling for a VAR, especially their fans. I don't think it needs a VAR check. It looks like she was egregiously offside. At the same time, you can't help but think that the United States are just surely knocking on the door. They've looked like the better team, especially in those first 15 minutes, and ever since out of halftime. It was just in that lapse of maybe 15 to 20 where the Dutch looked better. They got the opening goal, but ever since then, it's been all U.S. Dunn, or rather Girma, back with Nair. Headed out by Jansen, throwing U.S. at around midfield on the right flank. Fox with a throw in now on the right-hand side. Haran chested up, pipped forward, and can't find Rodman. That's going to be a throw in. Again, thanks for tuning in. 69th minute of play, about halfway through this second half. I'm Mahirson Hassan. Thanks for tuning in. What is a Wednesday night for me here in Phoenix, Thursday afternoon in Wellington, where these two are playing. Back with Lavelle, 35 yards out, shielded off now towards Sophia Smith. Smith tripping down a little bit. She's been wrestled a lot today, this time by Palova. Taken off, bullied right there in the midfield where it's mattered. Girma, meanwhile, able to shield off Snoiges from the ball. 70th minute, still with Ertz. Still with the United States. Here's Rodman. Again, I don't know what it is. Sophia Smith's had chances, but not too much. And that begs the question. It has to beg the question: do you bring in Megan Rapinoe off the bench? I mean, it could happen. You could see Rapinoe coming off the bench, but at the same time, could be interesting to see what occurs. Meanwhile, Chancellor Smith can't get on the ball. Lavelle now in the area. She plays it off, can't play it back towards Smith. Nonetheless, chances continue. Oh boy. It feels like just the way both teams are laying everything out, we're almost destined to get a goal here from either side. Van de Donk can't find Palova on the right. Dunn taken down. That's a free kick. 71st minute, 1-all between the United States and the Netherlands. And chances on both sides, mainly for the United States, and we're going to see another change here for the Dutch. Coming on will be number 21, that being Aubrey, or pardon me, other side, Damaris Egarola. Egarola on. Can't tell who came off. I think it might be Snoiges, Katja Snoiges, coming in place of Lindsay Bernstein. Bernstein listed as the striker. She played striker alongside Martins in game one, but she did pick up an ankle injury, which caused her to not be there. Chance and Van de Donk can't play it through. It looks like Palova is now playing the striker position. Might be Palova, might be Martins, pardon me. Crystal Dunn, nonetheless, with Sophia Smith. She pips the ball, able to keep it down on the left. Smith, low cross, cleared out there by Spitza, and a corner kick for the United States. They got their first run of the day from the corner. That was the right corner, though. Now chance on the left. Rose Lavelle, once again, going over to take the service, clapping her hands, showing the energy, and the Americans starting to get on their feet and show the energy. There's Lavelle on the near side of the pitch. 72nd minute. Lifted high into the box. Caught there by Van Domselaar. And with that, she was hit there by making the catch. So it will be another foul. Juilliard's called on the collision. Little hip check there on Van Domselaar as both of them were in the air. Looks like the Netherlands goalkeeper will be okay. As it's now back for another free kick. Again, credit to both sides. Alex Morgan had a good chance a few minutes ago, but she was called offside. Almost her whole body, save for maybe her right foot, called in an offside position. Electric atmosphere nonetheless at Wellington Regional Stadium. As Dunn pips forward, played through, and now for Sophia Smith. She's in the clear, now cuts back as Dutch players contend. Smith, cross, and it's out of play. Oh boy, the Americans, they are knocking on the door. And you think about it too, the way they've played this match since conceding that goal, especially since coming out of the break. I don't know what Vlatko Andonovski said, but whatever he said, it sure meant to say something for this U.S. team. They played a lot of matches against the Dutch. A lot of line on this too. They lead the series 8-1-1 as this is their 11th meeting. Their only draw coming back in 2020 in the Olympic quarterfinals. It was tied 2-all. United States won 4-2 on penalties. Megan Rapinoe ending the game with a winner. The United States went on to be in the top four. They did lose to Canada in the semifinals. Van de Donk taken down. It's a free kick towards the Netherlands. Again, good chances throughout this match. Chances throughout this match, chances throughout the day. Some interesting matches throughout the night. Taking a look at the Women's World Cup schedule. You don't have any match, at least if you're on the West Coast, you don't have any match that is for the rest of today. Portugal, Vietnam at 12:30. Those are the other two teams that are in this group. Australia, Nigeria at 3 a.m. And then Argentina, South Africa at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. but good crowd nonetheless. There's Vanderdonk. Spits up back towards Horan, who chests it down. Played up, now towards Sophia, or rather Trinity Rodman on the left. Rodman now, edge of the box, knocked out by Spitza, still in play. Another check comes in from Vanderdonk. Rodman lost possession, and it will result in another throw in. 75th minute, about 15 minutes plus stoppage time left. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get excited. It's hot here. I might take my shirt off if the United States get a winner in like stoppage time or something. This one's seen out, throw in United States. Back with Crystal Dunn. Interesting game, interesting tensions, interesting everything here from Wellington Regional Stadium. Dunn. Try to find Morgan on the through throw, if you will. Haran knocked out there by Jansen. Throw in. Not too many changes from both sides. So if the U.S. were to bring on someone like Megan Rapinoe, they could make the change coming up soon. They've only had one. On the other side, Netherlands has put up two. Anik Nguyen and Damars Egurola coming in. Out towards Lavelle in the center. Now with Haran in some space. Emily Fox. Now Smith on the right-hand side. Smith can't get the cross off. Jansen clears it out on the touchline. Throwing U.S., but nonetheless in the attacking third. Seems like for the Dutch, the goal now is basically try not to let U.S. score a goal. It's bend but don't break for La Orange. Heads it down right back towards Ertz. She sends this forward, a little too forward, as it's seen out on the end line. Van Domselaar will meet it there, and we'll scoop it up. Possession back in their favor. So chances coming from both sides. And then again, the Dutch, who got the goal in the 17th minute, again, had a chance. Here's Dunn. Can't play it up towards Smith. Got Rodman and Smith on the wings. Again, this is very similar to what we saw against Vietnam Friday night here in the United States, Saturday in New Zealand. Megan Rapinoe, despite being 38 years old, quite a potent player when it comes to playing on the left wing, especially with her services in. Now, don't get me wrong, Rose Lavelle has done a great job today. So has Andy Sullivan. Andy Sullivan, Savannah DeMello, all part of the service crew, if you will, for the U.S. Oh, what about those turns from Palova? Gives it right back towards Girma, intercepts the pass. Lavelle, she tried to slalom through, that's cut out. It continues and it's passed back there. Any credit there. Chances coming from both sides against Egurola. Try to enter the middle. Oh, it's a miss on the ball there by Fox. Out there towards Brooks on the left. 79th minute. Now, Fox. Now with Grunen. Brooks. Now passing the ball around. There's Nguyen, who checked in for Van der Gracht maybe about 20 or so minutes ago. Pelova cutting inside, 35 yards out, nowhere near the box, but in a midfield area to potentially attack. Out on the right, Lika Martins up on Andy Sullivan. Martins with a good pass here to Pelova. Pelova now to Roord. Roord back towards the middle. A shot comes in deflected, and it's just seen wide. Great passing, great build-up. And Esme Brooks shot deflected, blocked by Julie Ertz. Corner kick for the Dutch. How about this find, too? The fine by Pelova to find Roord. It's one of those passes that just sits in the box for a while. Your defender is just about managing it. Julie Ertz catches it at the right time. Otherwise, that might have been 2-0 in favor of the Dutch. I mean, I'll tell you, the Dutch, I mean, when it comes to stats, they have not had much of an advantage, and especially even possession wise recently. Now, granted, they were at 61-39. Well, it's actually still 64. I stand corrected on that. But nonetheless, chance for the corner kick coming in from the right, high into the box, headed up, still in the area. Back in, headed out by Girma, and another further header in. Still bouncing, and now cleared out again, this time by Morgan. Still high up, Grun. Now towards Pilova. Wrestled there on Crystal Dunn. She knows how to get up the pitch. Dunn is taken down. Will blow for a U.S. free kick. Play has been brutal at times today. One in a game that seemed like it's flown by at times. 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining here from Wellington Regional Stadium. Still 1-1 between the United States and the Netherlands. Here's Girma with a long ball sent forward that's headed away only as far as Rose Lavelle in some space. Lavelle takes a shot off the volley, and that's going to go close towards the seats. Rose Lavelle taking it with the right foot. Nonetheless, a coolish day. A lot of people wearing beanies, a lot of people wearing jackets. Doesn't look beautiful outside though. It's sunny, but it's one of those sunny and cold type days in the southern New Zealand city. There are a few stadiums in New Zealand that are indoors. This is not one of them. Nonetheless, Smith playing through. Here's Rodman in the clear, just wide. Rodman with a good chance, left-footed, and it's 10 yards out, just skipped wide. Van Domselaar did not take a touch on that, so it's seen out for a goal kick. Great run, too. A good chunk onside, and just unable to really clinch that there. But again, Sophia Smith with a great find is unable to really finish it off. There's Smith. Lavelle leaves it off, and here's Morgan now in the box. Morgan crossed it, looking towards Rodman in the center. That's been a good pairing where Smith's been able to sit back and got Morgan and Rodman going forward. That cross from Alex was deflected, so it's out for another U.S. corner kick. Rose Lavelle again with her left foot. Skyline Chili Messi to swing this in from the near side of the pitch. USA chants echoing throughout the stadium. 83rd minute. Lavelle, outswinger into the box, headed away. Only as far shot, and it goes wide. These were there by Sophia Smith. That would have been a beaut had it gone in, but it's seen out. But how about those chances? And that's what happens when you leave markers unmarked. Looked like it might have taken a deflection out. Yes, it did. That was going for the top corner. So the Dutch deflection helps out the Americans there. 84th, and again a Lavelle corner kick coming up. Megan Rapinoe, by the way, remains on the bench. Did not get the best touches against Vietnam. Lavelle into the box, wide open header, still around. Rodman sends it back. It's still there. Now done. Out towards Lavelle, right-footed cross. Back post it goes. That's headed up. And again, Brugst. Haran. Now a chance there. Crossed in the middle. Cleared out by Spitza. Corner kick for the United States. And Sophia Smith wasting no time to grab the ball. Now it's going to be Rose Lavelle again. No changes, and probably none needed for the United States. It's really the only change we've seen is Rose Lavelle coming in. She's had an assist. There's the Lindsay Horan. in what was the 62nd minute. Lavelle into the box. Haran could not connect there with her feet. Girma, the last woman back, sends it into the box once again. Lavelle, Haran can't head it down. Nguyen wins that battle. And that's cleared away. Energy throughout the stadium keeps on bellowing. It's Smith again, playing through. Here's Dunn on the left-hand side, crossed in, headed away there by Spitza. Old-fashioned, down-to-the-wire type battle, which you love to see, especially for the United States. Sullivan now. Not the best class there towards Fox. Rodman now on the right. She crosses it in. Morgan! Just wide. Collected there. It's still in the area. Now Spitza's got to clear it out. Rodman take two. That one's headed up by Jansen. Brought down by Fox. Pause comes. Come on, come on. Come on, feed. Show up. Oh, boy. This had to happen at the time it did. All right, 15 seconds. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. No goal. That's probably the good thing. It looks like we'll see a change here. Pelova is off. Third change of the day. And coming on, number 18 for the Dutch, that being Houston Kasparic. Houston Kasparic, as I mentioned earlier. Again, a lot of players on this Dutch side playing over in Europe. Not too many in NWSL. Kasparic, the defender, playing for Manchester City's women's side. Lavelle to the back line and Ertz. Ertz all the way back towards Nair. Nair with a high clearance forward. Haran heads it out and Spitzer heads it down. 87th minute. Tie game. Played forward a little too far for running Jill Roord. Back towards Nair. 88th minute. 3 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. It's done. That one deflected off Kasparic and foul called as Van de Donk goes down. 88th minute, about 30 yards out or so. I'd say 30 yards out. And oh boy, is right. Again, I think it's Van de Donk drawing contact there. Not much Lindsey Horan does there on the foul. But it's enough to cause the Dutch to have an opportunity. And that's what matters most in this type of situation. Sophia Smith will be the only woman manning the wall. And this is where we might see Spitza, Sharita Spitza, show her class. Hasn't had too many set pieces today for the Dutch. Could change here. Puts her left hand up. Lifts it high into the box, going back post. Headed up by Ertz. Headed back, redirected towards goal, and Nair with an easy collect. 2 minutes plus stoppage time left. As I mentioned, the United States have only picked up one draw in match day 2. Again, they've had some losses here and there. That's not to mention they've had their losses, but at the same time, they've had their wins, a lot of wins in their storied history, both at the Olympics and at this tournament. That one's cleared out. Dribbler can't be saved there by Kasparic, throwing US. Here's Dunn. Haran, back to Dunn. Left-handed side. Lavelle. Sullivan. She's honestly playing like a center back right now, Sullivan. Here's Fox. Ertz. with Sullivan again. 90th minute of play. Rodman couldn't get the best touch on it. Seen out there, goal kick. And so the cycle continues. How about this? Sophia Smith. The laser of a shot. Maximum velocity was 90 kilometers an hour, according to Telemundo. Had to be cleared out by Lika Martins. Otherwise, it would have been 2-1 in favor of the red, white, and blue. Throwing US. Fourth official at the touchline. 5 minutes of stoppage time coming up after these 90 minutes, which have been completed. Throwing US. Close chances. Here's Fox. That one flicked back by Bruce. Van de Donk clears it back towards the United States back line. Ertz. Nayer. Girma. It's been this way for about 28 minutes. 1-1 between the United States and Netherlands. First place and second place in the 2019 Women's World Cup. Third time we've got a Women's World Cup rematch. Rather, I should say a third Women's World Cup final rematch in the following edition. Kasperich plays it through, and Girma sends it back towards Nayer. She sends it forward off of Haran. Morgan heads it up. Lavelle, the target there to try to send it back. As Morgan sends it towards Smith. Smith trying to play through. She's going towards Rodman, but Van Dompsler off her line clears it high up in the air. Not too far, though. Smith heads it forward. And it's back with the Dutch. Haran up in the air. Back with Ertz. Pipped out towards Dunn. Dunn lost the ball there. Roord pressuring. Girma sends it forward. Collision there. No foul called. It looked like it was Morgan, the one being actually what might have been Smith, one of the two. Nonetheless, Morgan or Lavelle. Dunn switches it over. Out toward Fox. Fox back towards Ertz and Girma. They're playing higher back than almost anybody else on the pitch, save for Alyssa Nayer, the goalkeeper. 2 minutes through stoppage time. Dunn towards Smith on the left-hand side. Smith up against Kasperich, crossed in, chested down by Morgan. Morgan lays it off, trying to find Fox and Haran were there. Long shot from outside the box goes well over by Sullivan. Oh, this, you can tell the chances. I think, or rather, it was Rodman with a good chest down in the area. She's had a lot more space, especially through the middle, to play there. Highest paid player in NWSL, one of the most prominent leagues for women's soccer in the world. And looks like we'll get the curtain call, if you will, for Joe Roord. Broke the deadlock, opened the scoring in the 17th minute with a great finish. So she will be heading off. Try to slow down the United States momentum as Renate Janssen comes on. Three minutes past, maybe about 2.5 minutes left in stoppage time. Blatko Andonovski's team, they went perfect in the group stage last year. A game winner in the next few minutes or so would give them the same right now. Rose Lavelle down the ground. She didn't have too much. She was just crouching. Van de Donk on the other side took a knock towards her head. I think Rose Lavelle is feeling the same way. Let's take a look at this. That did not look like a good collision. Van de Donk taking the brunt of it, but even Lavelle feeling a little jaded after that. So now signals coming from both sides. Again, you got leadership on the bench. Kelly O'Hara played right back for a long time. She's telling some of the players what to do. Megan Rapinoe, who made some players, or rather minutes, against Vietnam, also on the bench. Again, the way United States is playing right now, I don't expect them to get another sub. In other words, I don't expect them to make a substitution. They brought Rose Lavelle in, replacing Savannah DeMello at half. That's been pretty much it. That's all the substitutions that we've seen from the United States. Netherlands, on the other hand, has brought out a lot. In fact, they made four, and in the case of Van de Donk, if she cannot play, then the Dutch may need to go to a fifth. Lavelle checked in at halftime. She's got her headband back on. But it looks like for the time being, both teams will be down a player, just so that they can go through the concussion protocols. And nonetheless, playing it safe here later on. Van de Donk's got a tape around her head. Almost looks like duct tape at this stage. Imagine a hat of duct tape. That's what we're seeing right now from Van de Donk. In terms of stoppage time, we are past the 5-minute mark, but this collision happened with about 2 minutes or so left to go. Taking a look at a recap of this. Jill Roord opened up the score in 17th minute. And as I mentioned earlier, the Wikipedia conspiracy theorist looked like he was right, but the United States responded in the 62nd off a Lindsey Horan header. Powerful in the back of the net. And with that, it's 1-1. It's been that way for a while. So Van de Donk off to the touchline. Believe Lavelle might be off too. So for the time being, both teams down a player. 6 minutes past stoppage time. The match about 1 to 2 minutes from ending. 1-1 between the United States and Netherlands. Pip forward, headed up right towards Pilova. Headed up again. Smith can't get a touch on it for the United States. Dunn brings it down. And send out here. On the wing, Lavelle. Long ball forward. Trying to find Morgan. That's not going to work. Gasbridge. Now maybe time for the Dutch for a Hail Mary. It's not going to work in their favor. Nonetheless. Done with the throw-in on the left-hand side. 6:49 through the stoppage time period. Dunn, Morgan, left off, and Ertz pips forward. A chance here for Trinity Rodman. Rodman coming forward. It's a 1-on-4. Lavelle coming forward, and not the best pass as Lavelle will track it down to the right wing. Fox. Ertz into the box, headed up there by Newland. Lavelle able to pressure. Fox couldn't get to it. Fox goes running. Few chances left for the United States if they want to steal all 3 points in the end. Here's Fox. Not the best ball, and it goes towards Lavelle. Lavelle split there in the middle. No foul called. Last touched off Fox, and that's going to be a throw-in for the Dutch. Again, a look at the watch for Yoshimi Yamashita. Hasn't called anything yet. Whistle to her mouth. And with that, the match has ended. Split here at Wellington Regional Stadium. The United States and Netherlands end out at 1 apiece. It started off in the 17th minute with Jill Roord breaking the deadlock, but then Lindsey Horan, fresh off a set piece with a sumptuous header in the 62nd to give United States a point in the end. The next match for both teams will be on Tuesday as the United States take on Portugal. That will be another live react here on YouTube and on Instagram. And for the Dutch, they will play Vietnam. I'm Hirson Hassan. Thanks for tuning in to my Women's World Cup live reacts here on the two platforms, YT and Insta. So long, stay safe, and have a great night.